If you go on social media, how often do you see people getting married versus nude advertisements of Instagram models, news reports, and things that are just trending? This society is now built on trends, what's trending, and what's popular online. And marriage and married couples are nowhere to be found. It's because it's now more so frowned upon. It's lame. It's not good. It's a waste of time to wait for the right one. And there are just many people now, and especially the younger generation, God is absent. God is nowhere to be found. It's funny how marriage was more promoted back then. Being together was more promoted back then. Family values was more promoted back then because there was no any signs of exposure to social media. Now that we're in a platform time today in social media, in the social media era, people has more access to be able to talk to many people online, and they have access to other opportunities, especially women to men's resources, and even men to how many women that they could sleep with. It's an endless amount of options where it's creating an entitled, picky generation full of narcissists and adult babies. People are more hollow, shallow, and not caring at all because they look at people now as expandable, because there's always someone online that they could find to replace you. This is how deeply rooted social media has become, involving in the minds of young adults, the young, and even the old. It's changing the way we talk, the way we act, the way we look, the way we think. Netflix don't even promote any marriage-minded shows. It's more about drama, and they always got to put sex in it now, and they got to just put the transgender, the interracial couples. It's like they're more so promoting on what's going on in society so people could have a reason to watch and relate to it. And that's only going to promote the problems to just get worse and more people to be born into things like this. And that's not good. How is society and the police officer, even the officers, the laws are against smoking weed. They're against drugs, alcohol abuse. They're against many other things, right? But at the same time, the media continues to promote it in TV shows, entertainment, the music industry. It's in a lot. The thought of drugs and money and the toxic love is exciting. It's like that's the new magical, because marriage is now seen as being boring. And it's a beautiful thing to be in a union, to just have a wife, a husband, bond together in a union before God. Now these days, you don't see shows like Family Matters or anything that has any family values in any TV shows. It's not even trending. I was out the other day just driving, even going to the market. Not once have I seen a store that advertises dresses for marriages, weddings, anything. Now these days, marriage is more of like a house party where it's the sinners and the people of the world is the light now to the idea of marriage being corrupted with selfish, self-centered values. And because it's so corrupted, that's why even more people are walking away from the idea of even being married and don't understand that this was also something God had want for us to have. Living in sin creates bad outcomes. Unwanted pregnancies, children out of wedlock. There's children going from home to home. No parents, no father or mother to be found. Abandoned. Not taken care of. People dying from STDs, catching STDs. Spreading diseases and STDs around the globe. This is many of the consequences of sin. And the wages of sin is death. You go through a transformation of a spiritual death the moment you make that sin, and now you have to live with those choices for the rest of your life until you repent and make that change. But a lot of people does not want the change. They want people to change for them. A lot of people now are so entitled, it's about me, that they feel that the world owes them something, that owes them a miracle. As soon as some of these people even hears about God doing miracles for other people, they all of a sudden want God to do a miracle for them. And when they don't get what they want, they're disappointed. Like, they don't like the values of marriage and the work that has to be put in marriage because they see it as negative. Oh, my parents are boring because of that. Following Christ is going to be a boring walk, but at the same time, society puts the word boring into play to play in people's minds that this is not the true meaning of life, when the true meaning of life is what happens after this life. We're all going to be judged based off the things that we did in this life. And society is not going to ever want to see it that way. I don't see any business advertising marriages. Nothing. I even notice while I'm at work, the job that I'm at right now, only a few of my coworkers are married. And they're either that or and on top of that, they're in their late 40s or 50s or 60s. It made me realize, like, wow, the young generation really don't give a crap about marriage. They don't give a crap about family values, the true meaning behind family values, or anything. A lot of people in this generation don't care. The family values of marriage and everything, it got thrown out the door. Because this is what God has wanted. For us not to commit to sin. Because it's dangerous to even play with fire. People don't know the damaging effects about that. There's even women that feels that there's no need to get married because their boyfriends don't want to marry them. They don't understand that it would be easier for a lot of these men to just be selfish and walk away as soon as their girlfriends just piss them off and they get tired of them, so they don't have nothing to lose or tie down to, because they even know deep down from themselves that their girlfriends are not even the best for them. They're just having kids with them just because they want kids. That's why a lot of people see that there's no need for marriage. They think it's just a piece of paper. Marriage was not created by the purpose of man. It was created to have a union between a man and a woman with God in the center of it all. I'm saying this for myself because I'm a married man. And I have no friends. Most of the friends I did have, they were divorced or they were single. A majority of them were single. And the fact that most people that I see now, today, that are married, they're a lot older than me, and it's slim to none. The younger generation and the people that are in their 20s or their early 30s, they're not thinking about marriage at all. They're thinking about themselves, and I can completely understand the shift of society. Apostle Paul remained unmarried, and he focused his relationship with God. That's a prime example of living right. Now these days, people want to live by society standards, social media, what society deems to be cool. And then as soon as it reaches the outside world, from the influence that deeply changed a lot of young people's minds, now people has the idea that marriage is boring, that if you're a virgin and you're waiting to get married, something's wrong with you. You're not cool, you're lame. People are pressuring you to commit sin and celebrate sin rather than celebrating God. They make fun of you to do right and call you goody two-shoes while they're doing wrong. They see it as evil or something's wrong with you when there's something really wrong with them. And I feel like a lot of people know it's the truth. Yet they weren't taught better, they didn't know better, or they know deep down for themselves it is the right thing to do. So they shame you to make themselves feel better about their own insecurities. And they want to bring you down into their miserable circle. And once they're gone, what do you have left? You followed all these people. You followed what society wanted you to be. And guess what? You're not happy. You're lost. You're hopeless. You don't know where to go next. Most of those jocks and the pretty boys, the F-boys, what do you think is going to happen to them when they're in their 50s, their 60s, 70s? Depression is at an all-time high. This is a reason why many people are even committing suicide. Satan takes a big toll on the mind first, because the mind is the most powerful thing. Even the freedom to choose, the freedom to have choice. There's no family values anymore. The families is not even tight. Everyone is every man for themselves. Selfish. Only out for greed, for money. And if the people today have kids, it's just for the purpose of having children, just so they could use their own kids to financially support their lifestyle, which I'm going to make another video about in the future. There is an advantage, which is a good thing, to have kids today, but it's better to have kids the right way when you're with the person that you love and you want to make a union with, to even please God, please your children, yourself, and have the right idea of what marriage is all about. It's not a prison sentence. For people that sees it as a prison sentence, that's because of the individuals that they've been around, the negative stories that they heard online, the media. So a lot of people now thinks negative about marriage because they've been fed that lie, that every single thing about marriage is bad, that they're just gonna live through life sleeping around. And that's not the way to go about either, because you're not gonna gain anything from that in the end of the day. I could even tell all of you from my own experience. You're gonna feel lonely, empty, no purpose, nothing. I got married to my wife knowing that I loved her. I wanted to do the right thing in the eyes of God. And even for some people that thinks that, oh, most women marry for resource, it is a very rare case for anyone to hear about marriages where women doesn't even marry the man for his resources, but because she loves him and wants to just be with him and likes the idea of getting married to him. You don't hear about that type of stuff. Marriage is not trending. It's not on social media like that. It's not being promoted anywhere. It's not being promoted in video games, anime, entertainment, movies, Netflix, TV shows, nothing. Nothing. YouTube ads, nope. People are not even getting married in their younger age. It's like, as each decade goes by, the decline of marriage increase, but the increase in divorces increases. Marriage is declining while divorces is inclining. It's going up while marriage is going down. And decades from now, it's going to be obsolete. This is what's going to happen. It's going to be a very nasty, chaotic mess. It's going to be a strange world. People are probably going to have relationships online or orgies where they feel no need to commit to nobody because it's slavery to them. It's slavery to be in a committed relationship, to have a union with someone, to have a girlfriend. They can't be tied down. Who said it was going to be easy? It's worth the work if you're willing to make it work. If you have God in it. But like I said, even the promotion of God is obsolete. A lot of the values society had back then, God was in charge of a lot. You don't hear people even talk about God anymore for marriages. It's more about what this guy could do for me or what can she offer me. It's more about that. It's like a business to these people. They don't make it about love. They make it about selfishness, selfish greed. This is why you hear a lot of horror stories about men being taken to the cleaners, being divorced, used, abused. Even for very rare cases where women experience getting to the cleaners. But we all know how society is against men. I know how the system is. My dad went through this. And he was not even married to my own mom. I'm just going to be honest and truthful with all of you. I wanted to get married. That was one of the reasons, my main reasons was to get married, was for God, to do right by him, my wife, for my mom and dad, and not to make the exact same mistakes that my parents did or society thinks or deems to be normal. This is why so many people are hopeless and lost. I have nothing against people that does not want to remain that wants to remain unmarried. People who chooses to just focus on themselves, go ahead, do your thing. But remember, you don't want marriage. You shouldn't play with fire either. Because even stepping back into dating, from my own opinion and experience, it's not fun. It's dangerous. You're gambling. You don't know what you could catch in the process, and you don't know what you could come out of in the process. You have to remain positive and be positive. Even the thoughts of marriage, like I said, gone. And I won't be surprised if it's completely wiped out in the future. This is how far society has gone away from God. This is Woken Red Pill here. Peace out. Let me know what you think.